Hi folks, how you doing? I'm Ross Minton. This is Grow Your Own Life. As always, please like and subscribe. Follow the adventures. That would be awesome. It's a very, very cold day today. It's about, I'd say, well, the car's saying 1 degrees, but everything's frozen solid. I would say it's more like -1, to be fair. And the wind chill it's exceptionally cold. My fingers, when I take my gloves off, are absolutely freezing. Hence the camera's got a bit of wobble because I'm cold. Okay, I'm shivering. Anyway, I'm in the greenhouse, and the greenhouse is surprisingly warm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you the thermometer, and we'll see what temperature it is in here together. Although I've just glanced it at the corner of my eye, and it's warmer than you think. So the only heating we have in here is my real makeshift compost bin, which I showed you how I did it in a couple of videos ago. I'll put a link in the description or pop it up somewhere. And as you know, we've had something get in it, which is possibly a squirrel, so it's been disturbed a bit. But bearing in mind, this thermometer is right by the window. I don't think that's bad. That is giving me, what, 6 degrees when it's so cold outside. It is absolutely ridiculously cold. Parts of the UK have had -26, and like I said, I'm pretty sure out there now, although the car's saying 1 degree, it's more like -1 and the wind chill is pretty cool when that breeze just hits you. So the fact that in a greenhouse that's got, look at those gaps, I've got gaps everywhere. You can't probably see them. There we go. I got gaps absolutely everywhere in this greenhouse. It's only thin, basic second-hand glass. It's nothing fancy at all, but just having a mini compost bin has got the temperature up in here to 6 degrees. No wonder the rocket and stuff's doing well. The rhubarb's poking up. The strawberries are starting to pop up already. Look, new growth. So far, I'm well impressed. I am very impressed. Who'd have thought it, eh? Filling up a box full of compost stuff would give you so much heat on really cold days. I was expecting in here to be as cold as everywhere else, really, because like I said, it's not insulated. I mean, the glass, oddly, the glass is not that cold. So, but yeah, it's just thin glass. It just goes to show you can do it. Anyway, I've got more to show you. Let's open, see if I can get out. So here we have more compost to go in. That is about 10 days, 2 weeks worth of tea bags, potato peelings, old daffodils that we had some cut flowers given to us. It's basically all compost. Obviously, if you're watching this in America, you're probably thinking, why have you not fed all that to your chickens? And you're right. Chickens would eat a lot of that. They love tomatoes. They definitely pick away at the potato skins. They would eat the shells if you crushed them up enough, and they'd use them as grit. There's apple core, there's loads of stuff in there chickens would eat. But we can't give it to chickens in the UK because it's against the law. Because feeding chickens kitchen waste that's been through a non-vegan kitchen can increase the risk of salmonella in eggs and meat by up to 35%. So that's why we can't do it in the UK, but you can in America. So, or other countries, I think you can as well. So if you want to feed that to your chucks, then you crack on. But I won't. Well, also, not just because we can't, I also think I don't want to increase the risk of salmonella from my allotment eggs by 35%. I'll go without. Thanks very much. So the plan is to get all of that in there. I'm literally going to dump it in, give it a quick stir with a rake. With a rake? No, I'm not going to stir it with a rake. A quick stir with a fork. And then I'm going to top it off with some of the bark mulch that I've got. I think you've seen it, that the tree surgeons drop off for me. It's this stuff, just that stuff there. It's the same stuff, if you look, I've used on my paths. And that's just going to cap it off, really, just to stop some of the smell. As you know, we've got a squirrel going in there anyway. I am going to get some mesh and put it over the top just to make it a little less friendly for them. But hopefully that should top it up and keep everything warm. By the way, if you're wondering what that big long box is, that is a new chicken coop. So yeah, I have a new chicken coop. That video will be coming very soon. I've got to do something because of the water situation down here. So the chickens are moving and I now have a new coop. not completely getting rid of the old one. What I'm planning to do when I've got more money is have 2 coops and have a 2 coop system, so I can switch them from one to the other. So on the bit of land which is wet but not wet in the summer, they can go there, and obviously, and then that will let the other coop grass grow back and things like that, and let it, you know, be cleaned out and get rid of it. If there's any mites living in it, they'll die off and stuff like that. And then I can hopefully alternate. I was going to say alienate them. I'm not going to alienate the chickens at all. I'm going to alternate them. That's the plan. That's the plan. So when I get building this baby, you'll see, because I've got to obviously clear the area over where the football goal is there, which is, it's not really going to be much hard work, to be fair, but it's a job I don't want to do in the cold, so I'm not doing it today. Hi folks, how you doing? I'm Ross Minton. This is Grow Your Own Life. As always, please like and subscribe. I'm at a really interesting point in my whole allotment rejig at the moment, and I just wanted to show you my compost system, because at this point it should give you a good idea of a before and after example of how a no-dig hugelkultur bed works and breaks down and makes really good compost. So without further ado, let's get straight to it. So I have these Dalek compost bins, as you'll see. They're really handy for storing all your weeds, your cuttings and everything else you'll accumulate in a garden over the course of a year. But to be perfectly honest, they're not brilliant at breaking stuff down. You have to get everything kind of bang on, kind of exactly right for it to work. Otherwise you can just end up with a pile of twigs and some mulchy, gloopy mess. And they're one of those things where ideally you want to be rotating the compost to get everything going, and because it's a Dalek system, it's really hard to do. So what I tend to do is just store everything in them. Every time I pull out a weed, every time I cut off a leaf, a twig, a branch, anything that's basically organic matter will go in to the Dalek, and I will just leave it there for at least 6 months. And then when I'm ready to rejuvenate a raised bed, I'll do this. So I'm starting to fill up these raised beds here and here, and I've also got loads of pots to fill up. I've got loads of big barrels. I've got more raised beds, as you can see. But anyway, these 2 raised beds, this one here and that one there, they've been down now for probably the best part of 3 years, and these were done the exact same way as these beds were done. So let's have a closer look. So these crates were completely empty, and all I've done is put in there the rubbish, the compost, the crap that was left over that was no good for sowing seeds and growing plants. We have twigs, we have bits of straw, we have bits of charcoal from the bonfire. There's everything in there. There's weeds, there's roots. You can have a good old ferret round and you can probably find all sorts. Look at that. Everything just gets thrown in to the bottom. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be nettles even. It could be anything. You just want to chuck it all in there, and then what I tend to do is I cover it all up with a really good thick layer of cardboard. Now we're not talking about 2 or 3 pieces. I have a shed over there which is full of bits of cardboard, and I'm going to put a big thick layer of cardboard on this. It's going to be a good 1/4 inch to 1 inch thick. It's going to be the really good thick cardboard as well. It's going to take a good 12 months to break down. By that time, it should have got rid of all the stuff under there. But what you can do, if not, is leave the compost on it for a whole 12-month period and just see what grows. If you don't want to plant anything in there and take the risk, just see what grows. Because at the end of the day, this is no good for growing soil. This is no good for growing plants yet. Some things will grow in there, but it still needs to break down. What I'm aiming to do is to grow in this top layer here. Okay, so all of that can rot down, and then I will fill the top layer with a better quality compost to grow in. So I could grow anything in here, knowing that in 12 months, 2 years time, underneath is basically acting as an amazing compost bin, and everything is rotting down. And I haven't lost the space because I'm still growing in this bit here, but underneath the cardboard it's doing its magic. So you might think to yourself, well, I'd never consider putting stuff like this into a raised bed. But that's how the hugelkultur system works. You put logs and twigs and everything in, and as they slowly break down, it feeds the soil underneath. There's worms in there, there's everything else. And it's like a little ecosystem of goodness going on. So now if I bring you over here, let me get the trusty shovel. Now this bed, as you'll probably see from previous videos, was full to the top. I've had strawberries in here, I've had all sorts. This bed was created the exact same way as that bed I've just shown you was created. It was piled high with weeds and twigs and everything. And now look, if you look closely, you can still see the remnants of some, but look how that's broken down. That looks like an old garden cane or something that's just broken down and is now like paper. There's a bit of clay in there because I even threw some topsoil in there. But if you just scrape it, look, it's not all clay. It's just a mixture of everything. 3 years worth of rotted down, composty goodness. Now the last probably week or so, I've been digging this out and I've been using it to plant some asparagus, to put in pots for tulips. There's all my old rubbish, and by rubbish I mean weeds, leaves, nettles, bits of wood that were untreated, logs, paper, cardboard, chicken manure, all of it piled in the bottom of a raised bed has now made the most amazing compost for free.